Hi, this is Will again. I should give my vlogging videos a name, shouldn't I? I tell you what, I'm going to name this Will Fights, because it is a fight, it's a battle. I don't know if I'm going to make any other videos apart from my journey with diabetes, but I don't know how these people do it, have the confidence to just talk on a video and talk. And lots of people do it, and that's how they become like quite popular and famous and, well, rich. And it's something they enjoy. This is not something I enjoy because I'm talking about a condition. But yeah, this is my videos. I'm going to call it, for now, I'm going to call it Will Fights, because my name is Will and I'm fighting. So this video now is just about how I felt, and then what I decided to do about my condition with diabetes, of my fight with diabetes. As I spoke to you before about my dad, he suffered with diabetes for many years. I remember a good 15, I think it's 15-20 years ago, we went to see the doctors with my dad, and he had kidney condition, kidney failure, not kidney failure, a bit of kidney failure, kidney stones as well, and it was the same thing. So they said you have to take this pill, you take that pill, take this pill, take that pill, and it got to the point where he had to inject himself with insulin. So he started injecting himself with insulin, and it just became a lifestyle. Every day he was taking these drugs, he was taking those drugs, he was taking next drugs. Those drugs were too strong, so they had to give him other drugs to tone it down. And then he wasn't taking enough drugs, so they had to give him more drugs, and then they had to give him different drugs to overcome the other drugs. And it just became it just spiraled well out of control. He was getting dialysis twice a week. He was puking. He was feeling sick. The dialysis obviously to do with the kidneys. But I think that also was brought along because of his diabetes, and then more pills and more pills and more pills. The pills could probably have filled up an entire wardrobe. It was ridiculous, and that is something that I really didn't want to get myself into. To be dependent on pills, or pretty much be a drug addict, which my dad was. He was a legal drug addict, and I think that is the most brutal way of saying it, because when you're taking all those drugs, although the doctor will say otherwise, the doctor will always say you have to take these drugs, all this stuff about cocaine, heroin, and all of these really bad mainstream illegal drugs. The doctors are making you take all these drugs. The cocktail of pills and medicine that my dad was taking was unbelievable, and this is not something I wanted to get into. So, firstly, let me just talk about what happened when the doctor told me. I was in a state of shock. I was angry. Just the way the doctors were selling me the worst case scenario. Where I will go blind, and then the worst thing, they brought my child into this, they brought my daughter into this as well, and this absolutely got me fuming. They said, look, what about if you can't see your daughter ever again, if you can't carry your daughter ever again because your limbs aren't working, you go blind, and they give you that worst case scenario. I was fuming, because the reason why I was fuming is because I had it on loudspeaker in my car. My mum was sitting right next to me, my daughter behind me. Although she was only 4 years old, she understands a lot. They don't care about where you are. I was telling the doctor over the phone that, look, I can't be talking about this on the phone in front of, like, with everyone around me. And they were like, look, you have to listen to me. You have to. And I was fuming at that point. Okay. After a while, I took my mum and my daughter home, and then I had to go to work. So on my way to work, I was still thinking about it. It was still dwelling in my head. And then earlier, I did have a little row with the doctor, and I said, I can't speak to you about this now. Can you call me a bit later? They said no, because I haven't got time. And then you're gonna have this, and then they said I had to talk about it now. I said no, I wasn't going to talk about it. So then she said, okay, I'm sorry. She switched off the phone. But good of her, she did call me back later on. She called me, we did have a good talk about it. we arranged an appointment to speak to each other. And then that happened a few days later. But during my car journey to work, I was thinking about it. I was really dwelling on it. Oh, what shall I do? Shall I take these pills? What am I? Is this going to be me for the rest of my life? And I was dwelling it for about 2 hours, and then I got to work. With my work, I can actually go online and read a few things, so which I did. So I went online, read a few things, read about the pills, read about the metformin, read about the statin. So the metformin, I've had a good read about that. It does seem like the metformin is the main first go-to point in terms of medication, and that's to bring the glucose level down. And the statin, however, is one that's supposed to balance your glucose levels. So with the metformin that you take, it brings it right the way down to a certain level, and there's a possibility it may take it down too much that your body can't actually function, and it kind of like kind of shuts down a little bit. So the statin is what brings it back up. But with that one, as I mentioned, that was the one pill, the one that says, like, specifically says that once you take statin, it is very likely that you will take statin for the rest of your life. And these words scare me, especially when it comes down to drugs, and especially with the history of my dad, is something that I didn't want to go down. So yeah, for the next few hours, I was dwelling in it. I was talking about it. And then I started looking about stuff like food, type 2 diabetes, how to overcome it, what sort of food you should be doing, what you should be doing for your health. And I sat there and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do something about it, and it's not going to be with the pills. I did think about it. I think, okay, the pills, but I thought, look, exercise, stop eating certain foods, sugary foods, carbs, so cut down on more carbs, eat more protein, eat more fruit, eat more vegetables. So lots of things that I thought about doing to try to counteract this diabetes. The funny thing with diabetes as well, people say with diabetes it's either hereditary, which is likely to be me, because my dad had diabetes from a young age. The only thing is that my sister and my brother, I don't think they have diabetes, but I don't think they've done a health check as well. So it's probably a good idea if my brother and sister has a health check, just to check. Hopefully they don't have it. But yeah, with me, I do eat lots of bread. As an Asian Chinese, I do eat lots of bread, eat lots of rice. Actually, when I say eat lots of rice, I only really limit myself to one bowl, and I've been doing that for many years. So actually, I don't eat that much rice. Bread, I eat a fair bit, I guess. In terms of sweets and chocolates, I do eat sweets and chocolates, but not so much in comparison to other people, where they can eat like whole bars of chocolates continuously. I can't do that. I can only take one bite and I'm done. With hot drinks, I don't take sugar in my hot drinks, and then Coca-Cola and fizzy drinks. Yeah, sometimes I do fizzy drinks and stuff like that, but I don't believe I eat that much sweet food. But yet I've been diagnosed with diabetes. So I think diabetes you can be hit with diabetes in all sorts of ways, whether it's hereditary or whether it's your diet or whether it's your mobility, your health condition, and whether you're overweight. And the thing is, I'm not even overweight. I'm 5'7", and I weigh 20. No, I'm not 20. I weigh 68 kilos, and that's like a good weight. So diabetes just hit me from my dad, I guess. Thanks, Dad. Thanks. So that's my this one's just a short video about me, how I felt when I got diabetes, and then what I wanted to do next, and how I kind of had a new sort of thought process about what I was going to do about it. So I went to see the doctors about a few days later, and then again, it was the same doctor who spoke to me on the phone. She sat there, and she was telling me about my health condition and saying that I need to do this, I need to take these pills, and then she told me to get these other pills from the pharmacy, which I since did. Haven't taken them yet, but I've just collected it anyway. And so, how about you take this? Okay, how about we start with insulin first? Okay, how about we start with metformin first? And then I sat down and I said to her, look, I told you my dad's condition. I told you that I didn't want to take pills for the rest of my life. So what I've decided is I'm going to change my lifestyle. And I've already changed at that point, I already changed my lifestyle. I stopped eating white rice, I stopped eating bread, I haven't eaten any kind of sugary foods, I've been exercising every day. So after about a couple of hours when I finished reading all the information, you know what? How I felt after that? I actually felt motivated, you know? I was like, okay, this is diabetes. They say I can't overcome it, but you know what? I'm going to show them I can. And it was all about motivation. And that's what I told the doctor as well. I said, look, for the next 3 months, okay, give me 3 months, and I'm going to change my lifestyle. And I'm going to see if my condition changes. 3 months' time, after I come back from my holiday, I'll come back to see you, and I'll see what my glucose levels are like. And that was my choice, and that is my choice right now as well. She was like, this is not a good idea. Changing the way you eat, changing your lifestyle, changing your diet, doing your exercises is not going to make a difference. And that's what she said. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. You have to take these pills. Pills, pills, pills. And I said, give me 3 months. And that is my journey right now. Next video, I'm going to talk about how I started on my new lifestyle. I'm going to start talking about the foods that I've been eating. I'm going to talk about what I've been doing on a daily basis. How I've changed. I've recently changed jobs as well, and how that has affected me possibly. But yeah, I think next video we'll talk about what my next journey has become. See you next.